All right, thank you for staying with us. It's time to look through the newspaper headlines, and I'll begin with the Nation newspaper. The major story here says federal government unveils plans to strengthen Naira. Staggers release of 5 billion Naira palliative funds to states. Why economy is weak by finance minister says Tinubu will deliver better life to Nigerians. Another writer here says president inherited dead horse standing economy. Soludo, that's Governor Soludo speaking there. All right. Emefiele anxiety in CBN as DSS Deputy Governor. Emefiele anxiety in CBN as DSS quizzes Deputy Governor. Another story here says government mandates security agencies to recover 500 billion Naira anchor borrowers' loans. Government mandates security agencies recover 500 billion Naira anchor borrowers' loans. And this story, NLC to begin two-day warning strike Tuesday. NLC to begin two-day warning strike Tuesday. Now, Abuja communities where girls' breasts are suppressed to save them from rape. Abuja communities where girls' breasts are suppressed to save them from rape. Another story, my battles with Randy lecturers opposed to CCTV cameras on campus. Unizik Vice-Chancellor is speaking. Niger set for rallies to demand exit of French troops. France vows response to any attack on her facilities. Then this story on the top corner, Gabon military junta faces first dissension as opposition group demands power. Brand school family affair. Who has a story here?
Okay, I would begin with the headline that says, FG mandates security agencies to recover 500 billion Naira anchor borrowers loan. Now, the president has given relevant security agencies a matching order to recover over 500 billion Naira given as loans under the federal government's anchor borrowers program. And the report is also saying that about 1.1 trillion was sunk into the program and only 575 billion has been recovered so far. The report also says that many of the banks are accused of failing to account for the funds which passed through them for disbursements to beneficiaries. They are also looking to recover loans from farmers and other individuals who had one thing or the other to do with the money. And it should be recalled that in June, The Guardian reported that some beneficiaries didn't get the loan on merits, and so they didn't feel the need to return the money. In fact, a total of 280 billion Naira was alleged to have been received as kickbacks by approving authority. So we just hope that this move would yield results.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, and bring back money
because
into the economy.
If the business is not thriving, and then where do you get the monies to repay? That'll be the processes, because sometimes they said these monies were released when most of the farmers that were given these monies are not, it wasn't released during the planting season.
Absolutely.
So they couldn't channel these monies appropriately so they can yield profit and repay.
Well, they should have kept the money till when they could use it profitably.
They keep it?
In the banks, of course. There are other investments that you
This story is long. Let's not go. Anyway, who has another
I have a story on my battles with Randy lecturers opposed to CCTV cameras on campus, says the VC of Unizik. His name is Mr. Esiomone. And he says he was interviewed by The Nation by representatives of the newspaper, and he had said that so far, 2 lecturers have been shown the way out of the institution, one in the Faculty of Law and the other in the Faculty of Pharmacy, stating that most times, there should have been more, but most times we see that students are scared to put forward those complaints because they're always very, very worried that, they'll be victimized at the end of the day.
Yes.
And so he also spoke to the student union government, stating that they should let students know that there's no worry, that they should just keep reporting those cases. And in his tenure, CCTV cameras were installed in some security strategic positions within the institution. but experienced sabotage. Some were removed.
Of course.
And he is still planning to install them back because he feels that it is important to expose the randy lecturers on the campus.
Absolutely. I recall a recent case where a family member's daughter talked about how a lecturer was trying to victimize her. The story is long, but she was afraid. That's where I'm going to write a statement. We had to put pressure on her. Her mom had to reach out to me to say, tell her to do this thing. In fact, I had to ensure that she sends me what she wrote. I looked through it, made the necessary correction, and send it to the school authorities because it's important that we bring these people to book.
I also have my own experience.
The Gabon Hunter and the story behind the story. So we've been following the fact that the Gabon has gone through a coup, but the military that took over are saying that they want to install a particular general into power.
Who is a family member.
Who is a family member. While the election that took place, allegedly, the contestant against the president claims that he won the election. He said that his name is Albert Ondo Osa. Yesterday said that the coup that took place on Wednesday was just a family affair. It wasn't a coup, it's a palace revolution. He said it's just inter-family fighting themselves, it's not fighting for the country, and that the initial jubilation of the Gabon people was premature because they were thinking that they are truly taking out that family entirely. That is not the family they took out. They just took out one member of the family by another member of the family who sponsored the coup to take place. The electoral commissioner said that the election that was won by the ousted leader had a 64% vote to this Ondoosa 31% vote, but the ballot counting was done without any independent observer, and there was an internet blackout. So obviously there was a undemocratic election. We don't know what happened.
And it's also important to say that the family has been in power for over half a century. So there's just been, it's from one father to the other, like just passing it across.
Now this one is, they said the sister of the person is...
So right now, it's a lot for the people of Gabon. But I have this story that interests me, talking about some communities in Abuja where the girls' breasts are suppressed to save them from rape. So it is reported that one young girl, 1 in every 4 Nigerian girl goes through sexual abuse. And so these communities in Abuja decided to find a way around protecting their children, protecting their girls, their daughters. So they decided to resort to, if they see their daughters maturing to that level where they're beginning to see some of their reproductive organs, developing here and there, they decided to do breast massage, which is not healthy at all. So they use the broken calabash, they heat it up, and then they use it to massage the girl's breasts, and then you see the pain the girl will have to go through as a result of that. It's similar to female genital mutilation, just to protect the girl child.
Instead of dealing with the men that are abused.
Instead of dealing with the root cause, you are protecting the girl, but all of these measures are not really addressing the root. So it is high time, yes, we have laws, but enforcement has been the challenge over the years. It is high time we begin to look into those laws and their enforcement. Very, very important. It seems we need to go on a break. When we return, we'll continue looking through the newspaper headlines. Stay with us.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women.
All right, thank you for staying with us. We are still looking through the newspaper headlines, and this time around, we're going straight to the Punch newspaper. The major story here says federal government dismisses school fear. Ex-generals warn politicians against poor governance. And riders, minister says no plan for military shake-up. Tinubu not at war with Niger. Good leadership, respect for constitution critical. Ex-CDS, others are speaking. Another story here says Ogun local government chairman aired by prostrating before Governor Abiodun. Suspended council boss is saying this. DSS detains CBN Deputy Governor. Well, the federal government to set up negotiation team on school fees hike. And this third story that came out yesterday talking about how attempts to save my marriage failed. The actor Ninolo speaking there. And then top corner here, Labour lists 6 grievances, begins warning strike Tuesday. Federal government plans review of tax waivers go up 6 trillion naira annually. They mentioned some companies that may be affected by this move by the federal government to review tax waivers. Who has what story here?
So I've been following the story of the local government council boss that is now suspended. We even made it a hot topic, I think it was on Thursday. And it seemed like, as we discussed it, that same day, he got suspended. There was a lot of noise. So he's giving an interview to break down why he stands by what he said and the fact that he feels that the other local government chairmen that went to prostrate before the governor of Ogun State were not doing
the right thing.
Yes, that it wasn't right for them to do that. It was an interview. In answering the question concerning funding for local government, he said that the standard is there's a federal, local, and state level. He alluded to the fact that many people feel like the Abiodun administration hasn't been doing anything bad because staff of local government are getting their salaries paid. But he said that the job of local government isn't just to pay their staff salary. They can't carry out any project. He said you are, as a local government chairman, you will see things wrong within your local government and you cannot do anything. There is no budget to do it. The process of applying to do it is cumbersome, like your hands are tied. He also mentioned the fact that there was intervention by the former administration of Muhammadu Buhari to solve the problems in the local government, and none of the money that the president then released got to any local government. Then he broke down how there's a 10% internally generated revenue that should go to all the local governments shared equally, never been shared in Ogun State. So he's standing by his word, and he's saying that he has relocated himself and his family for safety because he alleged that there were threats to his life. Thugs and police security agencies came to invade his house as well as the local government to prevent him from being able to do anything, and he's been suspended. But we're looking forward to justice taking its course, and would like all other local governments, because there are 774 local governments in Nigeria, and if those that are also experiencing the same thing should come together and strengthen democracy. Democracy is government of the people, and the people are the ones that will strengthen it when they see something wrong with the system.
Well, it's a tough one for him as it is because he's standing alone. He's standing alone.
You have to help him.
So who would want to help him at this point?
Himself.
Everybody's for himself, and his own what they can benefit out of the system as it is. But we only wish him well at the end of the day. Who has another story here?
Labour lists 6 grievances, begins warning strike on Tuesday. We would recall that earlier in the month, the NLC went on a one-day strike, and it was called off because the federal government intervened, saying that they would have a discussion with them. But now the NLC secretariat is saying that they decided to take this decision to go on a 2-day warning strike again, following the failure of the Tinubu-led federal government to dialogue and engage stakeholders within the organized labor on efforts to cushion the effect of the removal of subsidy on PMS. And so this is the reason why they want to go on strike. But then again, they have brought other counts saying that they have 6 reasons. So because they said they've stated 6 grievances, and I would quickly take them. They include: the center accused the police of laying siege on the national headquarters of the NURTW. It alleged the exploitation of the rights of workers in Imo State, interference in trade union matters by the Abia State government, proposed demolition by the new Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and 2 other reasons. And so they say that these 2 days is just a warning strike because they are actually gunning for a 21-day total shutdown later in September.
NLC.
Mine is they should continue engaging the government if they have that access. Yes, of course, they should engage government because that's the only way you can get results. Anyway, let me just quickly take this story on the major story here. Federal government dismissing coup fear, ex-generals warn politicians against poor governance and all of it. Now, we have seen a wave of coups across West Africa and not just West Africa, but some African states. Gabon is not in West Africa, so to speak. So we saw that some countries decided to do a shake-up. Paul Biya
cleared everybody.
And Paul Kagame also did the same thing. And we know Paul Biya has been in power for 40 years now. So the federal government had to come out to say that, you know, we as a country, Nigeria has passed that level where we're looking to, where there could be a military takeover, that we have embraced democracy fully. But then there's been this call or admonition to leaders to respect the rule of law, ensure good governance, ensure the dividends of democracy. That is what the admonition is coming from ex-CDS, all those who have been part of the military and all of that. They are talking to people saying, ensure there's good governance.
Sounds like a subtle threat too. Like
I don't want to take it as a subtle threat, but an admonition. Ensure that's why you are there. Ensure you deliver to the people because you campaigned on that. So deliver on what you campaigned on. That's the call.
I agree, though. I agree that they should deliver.
Damola, you wanted to take a story.
Yes, the federal government wants to set up negotiation team on tuition fee hike. So the Minister of State for Education, Dr. Yusuf Sununu, said this on Friday at an event titled International Day to Protect Education from Attack. And he also said that the hike in school fees could be the major cause of the various attacks happening across schools, and therefore there was a need to find a solution. He touched on the Safe School Declaration. And the Safe School policy is that policy that was made to ensure that children in conflict areas or affected by insecurity continue with their education. So the Minister of Education said that although this was ratified in 2019, and the Constitution says that they should provide free education in such situations, however, in a situation where the government cannot provide, they are at liberty to invite PTA and other relevant stakeholders to help in taking up this responsibility.
All right.
Yeah.
So it will be good to see the outcome of that negotiation at the end of the day, because parents are looking forward to that. Let's quickly move to Saturday's Sun, and we have to run. The major headline revealed PDP to decide Wike others' fate after tribunal's verdict. Frustration, confusion in states as residents wait for palliatives. Emefiele, DSS detains CBN Deputy Governor Obiora for questioning. Fuel subsidy, NLC to embark on 2-day warning strike. Ibadan, 116-year-old becomes king as Olubadan crowns 32 new Obas. Igbophobia holding Nigeria down. Muammar Igbo leader is speaking, reasons Nigeria isn't moving forward. Presidency orders security agencies to recover 500 billion naira anchor borrowers' loans before September the 18th. Who has what story?
I have the DSS detained CBN Deputy Governor Obiora for questioning.
Right.
And so the DSS invited Obiora Kingsley for questioning as against what is circulating around in the media now, saying that he was arrested. This article states categorically that he wasn't arrested, but he was invited for questioning, yes. And he said that this invitation may not be unconnected to the ongoing probe of the former suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, who is currently in custody of the service over allegations of financial mismanagement. And so there was a representative which claimed anonymity, and he said that whoever an investigation leads to has to be invited to answer questions as the probe pertains to such person. I cannot give you any more details, but all I can say is that...
The way she's even reading it. Please continue, I beg, we are enjoying it.
But all I can say is that he was invited for questioning over an ongoing investigation. And don't forget that the suspended former governor appointed Obiora. That is all I can say.
That's it. Any other story here? None?
I want to say quickly about the story about the NDDC. So, you know, with the story that the protest going on concerning the appointments that the president made into the NDDC board.
Okay.
And now the president, our president has been, this I'm sure has been very, very responsive administration because things seem to be happening very fast. So they've taken out the representative for Ondo State as well as the person representing Cross River State. Both nominees have been taken down and replaced, taking effect yesterday. The chief press secretary, special advisor to the president of media publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, released the report saying that Mr. Asi Oku Akang has been replaced with Honorable Orok Otok Duke. And I hope this will put the people of Cross River at peace because we had that conversation yesterday on the show with the Cross River APC youth leader.
I would have loved to take this weekend's story, but
please, just quickly tell us.
No, let me leave. You know, he has been saying that the PDP cannot suspend him because, you know, leading up to the election, what he did for the APC, how he was part of those that helped support the president now to emerge, and it was seen as anti-party activity, so to speak. And then he has come in and he's been moving around with the president. He got the appointment, and then the party is saying, you know, still rambling as a result of that decision. And he's saying that the party cannot suspend him. His confidence that I just love. I don't know what he has on the party, but, you know, he's just saying that the party cannot suspend him. And that he has not decided to leave the party. Yeah. He's always saying he is committed to the party, and so the party cannot do anything.
Okay, he wrote to them to ask if he could take the appointment, and they told him.
They told him he could.
Take the appointment. So what's now the issue?
What's the issue? Because it's even good to see, you know, another party getting an appointment. Yes. That is what we want to see, just as we see in the National Assembly. In House of Representatives, for instance, we have a myriad of parties there. That is what makes democracy thrive, when we can engage each other, not because of our party affiliation, but because we are looking at the Project Nigeria. And that's what it is for me. So he said he consulted his party, and they agreed, but now they are saying he can be disciplined. They are not looking at perhaps taking him out of the, but what the disciplinary action will be, we do not know at the end of the day, but I'm waiting to see how this drama would unfold because it involves Wike. All right, it seems our time is up with regards to the newspaper headlines. We could not continue with other papers this morning, but right, next we'll discuss our hot topic. Stay with us.
Ikechukwu Sunday Okonkwo, aka Cross. Now your intro without him.
Wow.
So there's a name that thing that's.
I'm just drinking because you say I should drink. There's no particular answer.
You think it's only that can be wicked?
What's the answer?
Subterfuge.
Eh?
Yeah. They claim you did, but you said it just happened. That
and it's called what again?
Subterfuge.
Subterfuge.
SUTERFUGE.
So you look me finish from head to toe. You look at a person who go know what to become such. Yeah?
The nude wasn't like a game plan. Or...
I promise you, it was actually a mistake. It was sending it to someone, and it just mistakenly just went back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the one who can make time stand still forever, Mr. Kelechi Amadi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
You love that intro, Abi?
It was great.
Okay.
Thank you.
We try like that.
Thank you.
Now my question.
Anyway, popular Nollywood actor Lanre on Friday disclosed that he had parted ways with his wife, Bunmi. In a lengthy post on his Instagram handle, the actor said he had finally accepted the, quote, reality of the end of the road, end quote. He, however, expressed optimism that the separation, which he described as sad reality, would give room and hope for a brighter and more fulfilling future. Now, this is the second time the couple is parting ways, as they parted ways the first time because the actor stepped out of his marriage and people are truly concerned for them. What are your thoughts? Join the conversation and call us on 081-0764-1679, 090-241-163440, or tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourView on TVC. A sad story, really, because many people were looking at them, you know, how loved up they were and all of it. But getting to hear this story yesterday, it came as a shock, a rude shock to me. But let me hear you out, ladies.
So I usually don't necessarily follow celebrities. I follow people that might be influential, but they're giving value on social media.
Absolutely.
Nino Lowo, I got to know him when he did Picture Perfect movie, and I went to his page, realized that he's married, he has adults, this like almost adults, grown-up kids, you know, and I found he has such a beautiful wife. I'm like, oh my God, and he's always flaunting the wife, you know. So you see some men that are celebrities, actors actually, and you never see their wives. They will never post pictures of their wives. They will never show their family. But he's always posting himself and his wife, celebrating his wife.
And his children.
Always talking about how this person stood by me in challenging times. This is how we're growing together. When I saw the divorce news, it shocked me. I was shocked. I did not even know how to take it, because we always expect that. We know life is full of its challenges. And his detailed post was we should respect the fact that they have a private life. Why we're discussing it is because we want to understand the
issues surrounding.
Yes, we want to learn.
It's not them in particular, but the issues around.
So because there were a few things that were issues in that marriage. He had spoken openly about cheating on his wife before. He had spoken openly about separating from his wife before, and how he fought to get back into that marriage. And when you read the statement for divorce, he said, after all I have done, you know, like, it feels like he sounded as if he has put in all he could to win back the love of his wife. So in my head, in my judgy head, or in my I like Nino a head, it came to me like Unforgiveness might play a role, because there's a case of I've done all I can and I don't know, it seemed like this thing still did not work, so I leave it to God. In his words, it was like, I leave it to God. God should reward me for what I have done,
and what
I did not do. So there's that feeling of this person really wanted the marriage to work, and it brings the question: can one person make marriage work? You know, can you cheat and expect your partner to move on? Can you, would you do something that you know your partner doesn't like consistently and think that because you have apologized and you have, you've apologized? I'm not talking about this relationship, I'm talking about generally, because sometimes you see relationship that a woman will say, unreconcilable difference is that I have complained about this thing. You pick your teeth like this over and over again. I don't like it. And I have been in this marriage for 15 years. Every day I keep telling you, I cannot continue. Irreconcilable difference, it is over. Something as little as doing something that your partner doesn't want over and over again. And I'm thinking that saying I'm sorry is enough reason to
and there's also the aspect of people saying that women are committed to their vows, and so when you breach that commitment, it takes them a while to forgive. You might think that you are doing everything to forgive. Is that true, though, that women do not really forgive when you breach that commitment that you made to you both, to yourselves, that you want to commit to moving together, and all of it? So can you forgive and not forget? Can you forget and not forgive? I mean, there's just this conversation here and there, Damola.
Talking about forgiveness, I also saw the speculations on social media that, you cheated on her, you do not expect her to just move on like that. But my take on this is, if you have decided to forgive someone, I don't want to believe that that's what has led to this second breakup, but peradventure, unforgiveness is coming into play in this breakup. I would like to say that if you have chosen to forgive someone, your partner, forgive and forget. Because if you now forgive and don't forget and continue to harbor resentment towards your partner, it will start building up, and then before you know it, you would fall out of love. Taking it upon yourself that, I want to forgive this person. Forgive them from the bottom of your hearts, for your own sanity, for your own healthy relationship with them. And then again, when I saw this breakup, it was really, it broke my heart, because, Makanaki, like I like to call him, Makanaki, he's a good-looking man. His wife is gorgeous. They have gorgeous children. They looked so happy. And, just living within their means. Yeah, and just doing their thing. In fact, I'm still hoping that it's a publicity stunt, because he put a publicity stunt on us when we thought he was featured in Extraction, the movie, only for us to find out that he was only featured in the promo. So I'm still hoping that
publicity taking
it's a publicity stunt. Because I don't want to believe it. The reality hasn't dawned on me yet. And I just wish them all the best if this is true. And I'm also thinking that maybe separation might be good for them to find their ways back again. It might be a time to reflect and see what they have missed, or in what ways that they have missed their ways, and then, come back, because it's unhealthy to raise children in a toxic environment. It's better to take some time apart.
Yes, that's actually
reflect
what
he come back again.
Yeah, what he said. Because from what you have said, tying it to forgiveness, trust is key. And the question is, can trust be mended once it's broken? Because it's a critical aspect of a marriage. And any relationship that is looking towards marriage at the end of the day. But I'm looking at that aspect. Can it be mended? But Toby, you have something to say here.
I see people pray and say that I want my marriage to be like yours. Don't try it. Because you see, even on social media, all you see are the good parts. And then you see people commenting and saying that if only I can have a marriage like yours. Couple goals and all that. But the truth is, you don't know what they are on Fararo.
How to say it in English?
There's some words I'm telling you. Yoruba. Apologies. The translation of that, what you're Fararoing, right? But it's deeper than that, right? A lot of people don't know the extent of what another person is going through in their marriage, and you just see all the glamour and you wish your marriage would be like that. But please, just focus on your own marriage. And for online in-laws, right? There are people that saw this story and were really heartbroken.
Of course.
I mean, see them, the online in-laws. So sometimes I think that separating issues, right, and not really being so involved in their lives as celebrities or in celebrities' lives, as such should be...
that aspect, do you think that could be a pressure on a marriage?
Yes, because sometimes some people might have challenges and they don't want to post, but maybe because in the first 2 years they posted and they're just trying to keep a... Let's just continue.
Appearances.
We've not posted today. Oh yeah, come, let's take a picture. You don't know.
That you just quarrel, finish.
You just quarrel, but
they
don't
know we are quarreling.
Yes.
Because...
and another thing I was
Seriously,
also going to say also is that there are deal breakers in marriage.
Yes.
So the fact that you offend someone or you hurt somebody and you expect that she have asked for forgiveness, now she'll move on. People deal with hurt. People deal with abuse differently. Yeah. So give that spouse some time to heal. Even though Oyedamola, some may feel that forgive and forget, but for some people, forgetting may not be as easy. Yes, you're forgiving, but it takes a while. And then,
especially because it's in the limelight.
When I saw this story, you know how it is that they say that people that tell stories tell it to their advantage. When I was reading it, I felt pity. I felt, how can a guy go through this? But if the wife was supposed to say this story also, she would have said it in a way that wasn't pointing fingers at her being the guilty one. Do you see? So I think that in cases like that, we should also be careful and sift through the emotions or the feeling that we want, or that the person that writes wants us to feel from any write-up.
Now, it's often said that there are 3 sides to a story. Your side, the other person's side, and the truth. We are not there. We are all online in-laws reading this story. And the pressure, like she mentioned, talking about social media, the pressure from social media and being in the limelight could also have, added to this matter. You see him in movies, and you always have to talk about, oh, it's just a movie. There are those spouses who cannot handle certain things, especially if your husband or wife is in the movie industry, in the media, and they do not understand what your job entails. There are certain persons who cannot handle it, especially if there's been a case before and they feel that you are close to certain persons. They cannot manage it. I'm not saying that's the issue here, but I'm saying that there's also the notion that this could also have contributed. I'm happy that I married a man that is in the media. That we both understand what our job entails. I understand, okay, if he's away for 1 week, 2 weeks, I understand what he's doing, I understand his job, okay, this is what is going on. There are those spouses who do not have an idea what your job entails. They are wondering why you are committing so much to your job and you are seemingly not giving them that attention, you are not present. It's like you're always traveling. I don't see you. Yet you say you love me. You don't call me at a particular time. You're not calling me enough. Not understanding that your job is taking its toll on you. There are certain times I can't call my husband because I know he's busy.
He cannot call you now.
There are certain times, yes, he can't even call me now
even
because
if
he knows
to.
that, okay, I'm on air. Even if he sends me a text message, he knows that I may not be able to respond because I am on air. And after what happens? So there are those who might need to have conversations with their partners as to what they are doing. You recall that there are even some persons who had to stop doing certain jobs
to maintain their marriage.
Because they had to maintain their marriage.
So, depending on the personality of who you are married to, it's not about, because I see comments that, men are going through a lot. So, the way the message came across, it came across like, men, I have tried to make it work. I have given all to make it work. God, you see my heart. Reward me based on what I have done.
What I did not do. That was where the balance came in.
Yes, and I liked it. And it just won our like it. We now just
now we don't like him again.
He won us even more.
Right.
Because he understood that I'm not perfect, and even the things I did not do, But when we talk about our jobs, who we are, it's not easy to be married to an actor. It is not. Actors go through a terrible, being married to them is a lot of weight on their partner. Like you require a lot of patience to be able to marry such a person. Yes. Yeah. Even those that were not actors, that were broadcasters, just on TV, that were just speaking on TV, being married to us is work. You travel. My husband will talk to a photographer, taking pictures. I'll be talking to my husband. Somebody will just come in and be talking to me like he did not see.
Yes,
I'm talking to somebody, and then you give him the phone to take a picture. Like the rude, So it takes a lot of patience and understanding for him to know that let her do, I'll
Yeah.
just go and sit there and wait until when you finish before I will go. So it is not everybody that is cut out for that life. And for us, a lot of people say, Nino has tried. He's going through a whole lot. The woman herself has tried. And it's not that she's not forgiving or anything. It might just be that her personality cannot handle this anymore. And
Yes.
they have a 17-year-old daughter. So it's been a long time. Acting, they live in 2 different countries. So if you are like me, it's a gum thing. As in, I cannot, if you are out, if my husband is out for 3 weeks, you will think that he has gone for 3 years. The way I'll be behaving, I'll be calling him, I'll be sending messages, I'll take picture, I'll send to him. I'm like, what's going on? I just have myself
3
like,
weeks?
no, one day.
One day.
You know, and if for reasons he has to now live in a different country, it will put a lot of strain on, and it's not about love. It's about my love language and personality.
Absolutely.
Not able to speak it.
Correct.
So this is a marriage that has gone through different seasons and different phases, and maybe based on personality and maybe based on their career path, it just might not be working. So we're having conversations so that those that are single can start thinking, because one guy was saying that, let me even get his name, Alesh something. He said, hey, these people that advised me on my marriage, my marital mentors, he's also an actor, have now broken up. What will happen to my marriage? Like, what am I going to do? That I really want my marriage to work, but I don't know what is going to happen. Because when people look at them and say, man, Makanaki, big buff guy, fine babe, and they are always together. I went through his page, has removed their pictures. And it's just so...
Let's
how many years?
pick,
How many years of marriage?
Abraham's call.
17 years.
Abraham is calling from Kaduna. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. I just want to ask a question, please.
Right.
Please, that person speaking that is always sitting at Morayo's seat. Is he Morayo? Are you Morayo?
My name is Veronica. I'm not Morayo.
The resemblance is very strong.
I'm more like a younger sister to Morayo. Okay, you can take it like that.
Okay. I will argue whether you guys are
Oh, really? We thought you wanted to make contributions to our conversation, but it's fine.
No. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Tell everybody.
I see this comment a lot.
Is this Morayo?
Is this Morayo?
Is she related?
Are we related? We are not related.
No,
we just have this resemblance, so to speak. But back to the issue. And you were talking about how it is the pressure that distance puts on marriage, as well as personality, love language. In fact, he spoke about his mental health, and then he also went ahead to speak about how she outgrew him at some point. So has he been able to catch up with her as she outgrew him, and all of it now, the aspect of their grown children, how they're going to move on from here? There's so many issues to look into, but we need to go on a break. When we return, we have an expert that will be speaking with us on this matter, and we'll look at it holistically. How he is the expert here, he'll be talking to us on that. But when we return, stay with us.
Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Made Kuti in the building. It's still 7 of 7, and we've been doing a whole lot of protesting. The only thing that remains is just to carry placard.
It's about 5 or 7, to be honest. Because, ask your question. I have so much to speak about once we finish.
We'll not give you the time because it's 7 of 7.
I will make the time now. He said he will not ask questions about science.
No.
About neuroplasticity.
And based on...
He asked a question that was subjective about high life. And he did not finalize his answer about a Kuti question where there are only 3 of us.
Editor, scratch this part out.
That could have possibly composed the music.
Editor, scratch this part out.
Stupidity is an act of ignorance.
Hey God, Made.
Was composed by which Kuti?
Femi Kuti.
Is that your father?
God, I'm Shion Kuti. No, wait. Femi Kuti.
You said
Femi
your
Kuti.
Kuti.
Wait.
You can't be allowed.
No, you've
You
not
can't
asked me
guess
anything.
everyone.
You've not asked me anything. So my final answer.
No. All I have to say is this show is really about drinking.
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
The questions don't matter.
That's the whole
Justice
idea.
is out the window.
We throw caution to
We
the
have
wind
no
right
morals here.
on the 7 of 7. This is 7 of 7. My name is OJ, and signing a sobriety into my hands tonight on this social experiment called the 7 of 7 is Owen G. What is the name, or what was the name? You see, I want to make them better now.
Rock Heart.
No,
That's
of
the
the
song.
of the goats when they brought it on stage.
The name of that goat.
Yeah.
We should go there.
No, that one easy now.
I'm just drinking this so that I can ask him my own questions. It's not because of
Buga.
he didn't get it. You know, you people, you know. Okay. Mention 10 female stand-up comedians in Nigeria. See, just mention their stage name. If you annoy me, you will mention their real names and the year they started. And if you annoy me further, you mention the names of their husbands and the names of their children. Try me now. Okay, mention their name.
No,
real name.
let's just.
No, wait. No, don't. No. Name, real name, stage name, husband name.
All right, thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at a hot topic, but joining us to discuss secrets to long-lasting relationships is Africa's premier live mind and behavioral change catalyst, the one, the only, Lanre Olusola is in the building.
Hello, ladies. You guys just fashied me, sir. It's been a long time.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, I've missed
But we
you
have
guys.
you now.
Yeah, I'm
have
here.
you now.
I'm here. Yeah.
Thank you.
You.
Now, we're looking at this matter of the separation that happened between Bolanle Ninolo and his wife. A lot of us were looking at that marriage. We're, excited about. They came back at some point, and now he said that right now they are parting ways for good, so to speak. But let's get your perspective on what happened, what transpired, because he made a statement, and there were so many issues that he pointed out. Talk to us what you read out of what the statement he made.
I mean, I think this is where we are as a people. I think in Nigeria, a lot of people are living separate lives, even though they're married. Mm-hmm. So globally, 1 in 2 first-time marriages is ending up in divorce. Globally. 62% of second-time marriages is ending up in divorce, and 73% of third-time attempts at marriage is ending up in divorce. But in Nigeria, the phenomenon is very, very interesting. We don't divorce because of religion, because of our culture, because of what people will say, because it's a sign of failure, right? People just stay together. They cohabit. They are flatmates.
Right.
Spiritually, there's a disconnect. Intellectually, there's a disconnect. Emotionally, there's a disconnect. Sexually, there's a disconnect, right? But they're cohabiting. So in Nigeria, we live separate lives. But you see, this new generation and this new era that we're in, right? It's okay now for people to leave each other. If you notice, right, when people marry now, the young people that marry, 2 years, 1 year, they're gone. Yeah, they don't have time. And that is based on a broader concept. The world now, does not really care about that institution of marriage. So the world view affects our individual views. The societal view affects our individual views. And then your family values influence your personal views. You know, 30 years ago, if you had an issue with your spouse and you went back to your parents, no matter what the issue will be, what would they tell you?
They'll chase you back.
Go back there. But now, you know, you are independent, you are financially independent, you don't need to go back there. You just leave and go and stay on your own. It is like 6 months, 1 year after that they will know, or 2 years after that they will know, you know, that something has happened. You are living your life, you know, and your friends and the people that you surround yourself with also, what are their core values, right? If they also, you know, they don't care,
right?
They will not care. And you see, a lot of people think that it's just the husband and the wife in the marriage. No. Yeah, the family is involved. Your friends are involved.
Anybody that you're listening to.
Yes, everybody that you're listening to. Social media is involved. TV is involved. What films are you watching? What series are you watching? Those things influence your thinking and your core beliefs. Yeah, and your decisions. And so, you know, I wouldn't like us to just look at this from an insular perspective or from an isolated perspective. It is the norm in society today. You know, there are people that are married, right?
But they're separated.
But they're not really connected anymore. And the question is this: do you just want to save face? What is the import and the impact on the children? Because you see, when you bring up children in a dysfunctional environment, it affects them emotionally, psychologically, and behaviorally. And so you have to ask yourself, you know, what is really going on? And are you guys talking about that situation? Because you may think that your children don't know. You may think that they don't feel what is going on. But guess what? They know, they feel it,
Sense it,
and it's affecting them. And one of the ways that you know is their behaviors. The second way you know is their academics. It will start to drop. And with children, you know, those are the two critical ways you will know. However, on the long term, it would affect them emotionally and psychologically. And even as adults, to be able to function. Yeah. So, you know, I think that, you know, we should approach this conversation.
Absolutely. That's actually what we want to do. Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned that there are couples in marriages that are living apart mentally, even though they're living together physically. So that means that they have outgrown each other. So what kind of advice can you give to couples in a marriage that feel they are outgrowing each other? They haven't gotten to the peak yet, but they're beginning to sense that there's something off about my partner that is, you know...
You don't even know they're actually outgrowing each other.
Yeah, they can tell to a certain extent.
Well, you know, some know.
Some don't.
Some know and want to do something about it. Some know and don't care. Some don't know. Some, you know, the people around them know. You know, so there are different scenarios. For the guy that knows and wants to do something about it, right, then it's important for you to sit down and first of all do a reflection. You know, and ask yourself, you know, how old are we? How mature are we? Because maturity and seeking for peace is one of the greatest things that, you know, keeps marriages together. You know, it's a case of when we get into an argument or we have a conflict. Am I trying to prove that I'm the one that is right? Am I choosing my own perspective, right? My own core values, my own ideologies, my own belief over the relationship and over peace in the relationship? So I call it choosing peace over justice.
Right.
A lot of people would rather choose justice. And their argument is based on the fact that I am the one that is right.
And I want
it
to
has
gain
to be
closure.
my way. And I, you know, and I insist that, you know, we have this conversation now. Rather than, you know what, let's approach this from a mature perspective. Let us talk. You have your views. I have my views. And let us, you know, merge those views and come up with one solution.
Like a marriage appraisal.
Yes. So that's the people that know. That's the first thing. The second thing is to then accept that we have grown apart.
Yeah.
You know, when you marry, and that's why, you know, one of the concepts that you know, a lot of people used to teach us is don't marry early. Because you see, what you want at age 21
Totally different.
and what you want at age 25 is different from what you want at 30, 35, 40, 45, 50.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So when is the best age to get married?
You know, there is no age. It's the age where you are mature. It's the age where you found yourself. It's the age where you've discovered your true essence. It's the age where, you know, you understand that you're here for a purpose, right? And you understand the purpose of that marriage.
Key. Very key.
Because every human being is born with a purpose.
Absolutely.
Right? And you have a life vision and a life mission. And your partner has a life mission and a life mission. So you both get in the same boat. And your own life mission is supposed to lead you west. But your partner's is supposed to lead her east. And you are in the same boat. One person will suffer a casualty, or both of you will suffer casualty as it pertains to your life vision and your purpose. So you should not be married if you are not clear. At least if you don't have an inclination about where you are going, who you are, and your partner as well, and you have that conversation. There is a book that I've been writing for the last 2 years. The questions that you must ask yourself before you say I do.
That would be an interesting book.
I have created over 365 questions.
Wow.
Can you just mention some of these questions?
These are some of the questions that I'm asking already. Why am I here?
Yeah.
Who am I? Who am I not? Because who you are not is as important as who you are. You know, a lot of us, because of FOMO, we make certain decisions, right? Because of our fear of missing out. And, you know, we're living other people's lives. We're not authentic. We're not original.
Right.
We're not doing our own thing. We're not living our lives on our own terms. So we're living other people's lives. Now, you now want that person to marry someone else that's like that person. Who will be making the decisions in your relationship? Other people.
Yeah.
You know, what other people will say, what other people will think, and all of those things. So you must ask those questions. You must ask, what am I? And what am I not? Because you see, when you talk about, okay, let me use a spoon to describe this concept, right? A teaspoon is different from a soup spoon.
Yes.
And a tablespoon.
Absolutely.
So you use a teaspoon for tea. Use a tablespoon to eat on the table. A soup spoon to stir the soup when you're cooking the soup in the pot. If you take a soup spoon into the pot, what is going to happen to your hands or your fingers? You'll burn it. And so a lot of people are putting themselves to abnormal use in relationships and in marriages because they don't know what they are. They don't know what they are not. They don't know what their spouse is or what their spouse isn't. They don't know who they are. Yes. They don't know why they're on earth. They don't know what their purpose or the solution that they were born to be is. Now, I am called to you in a marriage to complement and complete you. Because I am incomplete and you are incomplete. Not compete with each other. So my difference is your complement, not your conflict. But my difference becomes your conflict, and your difference becomes my conflict. And then that becomes the bone of contention and conflicts in our marriage.
Man, this is
a master class. Okay, so I'm taking you back to children. You know, while growing up, we would realize that quite a number of people were from dysfunctional homes such that they saw their parents doing a lot of things, but you would realize that maybe the mother would say, I'm staying because of my children. I'm staying because, you know, we just mostly give the reason for the children. And so now that we're much older, we see that when we cite something that looks like what we've experienced in our parents' house, I'm speaking generally now, we run, right? Which is now a reason why I feel that the exposure that we've seen now is as a result of the fact that we've seen it before, we don't want to allow it happen again.
Like avoiding trauma.
Avoiding it again. But we see that the long-term effects of that, whereby the woman can't even, any small thing, she's moved. Yes. What are those effects on the society today as a whole?
Yeah, so that is another fundamental reason why marriages, are failing today. So there's what we call flight, fight, freeze, response to trauma. And so I often say that there are three victims in any dysfunctional environment: the person that is abusing, the person that is abused, and the witness. So in this case, the children witnessed it. You see, we're all products of our environment. It's almost like the greatest school when it comes to marriage is the family institution you're born into. Because you wake up in the morning, 24/7, you're there. So maybe you marry at 8:30. For 30 years of your life, you're studying. You're in school. And you're a product of what you've learned. It's because all you know is all you have learned. Right? And you cannot produce anything outside of that. So it's either you replicate that model or you resist it. But what you resist persists. So you now realize that, man, this is a trigger. But that trigger psychologically impacts and emotionally impacts you. So you make a decision. So I say to people, there is no decision that we make that is not based on an emotion. So every decision you make is emotionally based. And every emotion you have is belief-based. And every belief you have is your thought influence. And every thought influence is coming from an environment. So your environment shapes your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, ultimately your decisions. And your decisions influence your actions. So you are now acting out of, a place of what you truly want. You want to be happy. You want to be married. You want children. But you know what? You can't stay in a relationship. And you're wondering, what's wrong with me? After every 6 months, you sabotage that relationship. Self-sabotage. When, everything is looking all rosy, then your commitment-phobic dysfunction shows up. You sabotage that relationship. You always fight or you always escape. Once it's getting too intense, find out that you just do something.
I beg, Joe, I can't see it.
And if you see the patterns, you'll realize that, man, there's something going on. It's either you fight the person, it's either you take flight, or you just recoil into yourself. You're not talking, you're not engaging, you are just, completely neutral and numb. And that person has no choice but to leave.
So I always like to, when we talk about marriage or talk about relationship and talk about the impact on our lives, it always takes me back to, I did NLP and life coaching with OLC, and that's Olusola, Lanre, coaching academy. And there was a shift in my life. There was a growth that my husband had to tell me, stop coaching me. Because everything was a teachable moment. And I was no longer a wife in the marriage. I became his coach. He didn't want a coach. He didn't marry a coach. He didn't marry a therapist. He did not marry a guru. So he's not expecting me to start digging down to the root cause of the issue. Because for every time we talk, I'll start chunking down that, see, you're not addressing the real problem. Let me tell you how to address. And it's caused a bridge. So the knowledge was supposed to bring us closer, but it caused a gap. And there is allusion that this marriage that broke up, they were trying to draw lessons from, also had a gap based on growth. So I know that growth can be intellectual, growth can be financial, and
spiritual.
Growth can be spiritual. Somebody has become Jim, and the second person is now looking, you now begin to see that the person does not know God anymore. And you are the one that talks to God every day.
Hey.
You are the spiritual one.
So how do we grow and not let that growth tear our marriage apart?
I mean, this is a very, very powerful point that you made, because, you rarely see couples that grow together.
Yeah.
And it's actually very difficult to grow together. You know, if you set a goal that you're not in full control of, it's a wish and you can't guarantee the achievement or attainment. Which means that in that marriage, you guys have to identify what your core values are. My core values, your core values. And then we'll see where those core values align or conflict, and how those core values align with where we're going as a couple. Because each of you have to sit down, right, and identify your family vision. Where are we going as a couple in this marriage? What do we want for our children? What do we want for ourselves? And you create that common goal. And then you ask yourself some fundamental questions. You know, what are those core values that will drive every decision that we make? And what are our ideologies and our beliefs? What are the things that will work against us and work for us? It's important that when you are courting, you make those decisions, you have those conversations. And that's when you have to ask all of those questions. You know, that's why it's called courting. What do you do in court? You question people. You know, that's why it's called courting. So that's why where you are supposed to spend a lot of time getting to know each other, even though you can't even actually know each other, because even you don't know yourself fully. So you begin that journey, because life in itself is a journey, right? You begin that journey, but you begin it based on that foundation of some knowledge, because one of the critical things that makes marriages work is having a knowledge and understanding and accepting your similarities and your differences. Very, very key. And so that couple, right, that are growing apart need to come to terms with the reality that, you know what, it is a reality. We cannot both grow at the same rate. We cannot both always have the same interest. Look, you stifle your marriage and your relationship when you expect that your partner is your all in all. Your partner can never be your all in all. It is too much pressure on your partner. Your partner needs friends. Your partner needs confidence. Besides
outside
you.
of you.
Yes. Your partner needs bestos, her own besties. You see, I say that one of the greatest elements of love is freedom. Free your partner. If they truly love you, they will stay. You know, they would honor and respect that freedom. You see, the truth is whether you monitor or you don't monitor, you can't guarantee what anybody does.
Yes. At the heart of that freedom is trust, I believe. But we need to quickly go on break. And when we return, we'll continue this masterclass. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, multiple award-winning actor, producer, ambassador of Edo People, we have Etinosa Idemudia in the building!
Not be first to go police station, they win the case.
Is
So
she?
you are showing yourself.
I go see as my second
You are
question.
feeling like a contact the prancing peacock. I'm about to cut your wings. Hello? Now, in the amalgamation of 1914, who was the woman who drew the line of the amalgamation? Who cut the report? Who is the person that used scissors? What is his name?
That woman.
You have done me dirty. I've marked your face. If anything happened to me today,
I don't
if I don't reach my house. Anyway, I'm gonna be chauffeured, so.
You remember now, Avi? Yeah, but you never too thin. Now you remember.
Hey.
If a person who indulges
All right, thank you for staying with us. Earlier, I mentioned we're having a masterclass here because we have the one and only Lanre Olusola in the studio with us, talking to us about ideals of marriage. You can join the conversation and call us on 081-0764-1679 or 090-241-63440, or Twitter us using TVC Connect using the hashtag YourView on TVC. Now, let's backtrack a bit to this matter of what makes marriages work, actually. We need to understand it, the ideals. I know there is a thread that runs through that one can say these are the building blocks of marriage. What a day, especially for those who are looking to get married, those who are in marriages and are thinking, okay, let me take my time to look at how far we have come, what is missing, that are the ideals that are not part of the building blocks of our marriage or the foundation of our marriage. What are those things?
Well, I'll say there are 5 main ones. I've mentioned one, maturity, peace, which is born out of being emotionally intelligent. So, you know, researchers...
We have a call on the line.
All right.
I apologize.
No worries.
Kelechi has called in from Shasha. Kelechi, good morning. Welcome to the show. Go ahead with your contribution.
Veronica and Cook, good morning.
Can you speak up, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I'm a regular follower of this program.
Thank you.
But this is the first time I'm calling on a Saturday.
Oh, hey.
Yes, and Chitokwe knows what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But I want to ask this question to Dr. Lanre. Honestly, this hot topic is hotter. So I want to ask him this question, please. I do hear about self-belief. Experts will tell you believe in self. You understand? Believe in self. That's the best form of belief. Christianity will tell you believe in yourself and believe in God. But they believe in God much more than they believe in self. Now, Dr. Lanre, let's leave about that Christianity of the thing. Please, what does it take to believe in self? And how does it go? And how does one go about self-discovery? Because this concept is really, really giving me concern.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelechi. Yes, self-discovery and belief.
Yeah, thank you, Kelechi. You know, it's a very, very fundamental success factor.
Yeah.
Not just in marriage, in business, in life, is this cocktail. A healthy self-worth, self-confidence, and self-belief. Without it, you can't succeed in any chosen field of endeavor. Now, and you know, quite a number of people are struggling with their self-worth, their self-confidence, and self-belief. Why? Because of this same background that we're talking about. What kind of home did you grow up in? What position alongs, you know, the number of children and siblings are you?
Is that critical?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. If you are the last born, and
I am.
Yes, if you are the last born, and you know you have older siblings that chance you, suppress you, right, and shut you up, you will struggle with your self-esteem, self-confidence. But the number one role of parents and older siblings is to help you build your confidence. So if you have siblings that tell you, you know, a friend of yours comes to chance you and bullies you, and you tell your older brother, and your older brother say, what?
Let's go there.
Let's go there. Slap him. Slap him. You know, you bullied my younger, oh yeah, get into, you are not supposed to be afraid of him. What is it doing?
Building your confidence.
Building your confidence. Or your father or your mother, or, you know, however, if they are the ones that talk down at you, if that environment is a toxic environment, you find out that your self-worth and your self-esteem will be completely eroded, right? And you will struggle in many areas of your life. So having said that, right, if that fails, then you, right, need to start doing self-help. You have to start reading books or attending courses that will get to the heart of your self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence, you know, trigger.
All right.
What is it? because we have to get to the heart of it. Or you have a teacher who used to compare you with somebody else, right, and tell you, why can't you be? Or you have a parent or a mother that say, are you the only one in the class? Right. Why are you coming back with 10th position? Or you're fat, or you're plump, and they are always complaining about your weight. They are chipping on your self-worth. So it is about self-help. It is about getting a coach. It is about reading. It's about getting those self-help,
taking deliberate steps.
Yeah, intentionality.
Yes, we have Patience on the line. Patience, are you there? Patience, can you hear me? If you can, please speak up, and if you can't, call us back. It's very important, right? There's a whole lot we have to talk about in such a short time. That's why we want to quickly address it. And earlier I mentioned the matter of the building blocks to marriage.
Yeah.
You could
so the first is, the concept that we call emotional intelligence. Research has now proven that 85% of success in relationships or in any chosen field of endeavor is dependent on how emotionally intelligent you are. There are 5 components of emotional intelligence. 1, self-awareness. Do you know yourself? Do you know your strengths? Do you know your weaknesses? Do you know your interests, your passion? Right? Do you know why you are here? Do you know what you're good at? And all of those things. Self-awareness. How do you show up in an environment where there are plenty of people, when there are, a small number of people, right? Self-awareness is the first thing. The second thing is motivation. What drives you? What motivates you? Are you extrinsically motivated or intrinsically motivated? Are you motivated by bonus? Are you motivated by money? Are you motivated by something that someone has power over? Or are you motivated by,
being around people?
Yes, being around people, that's external. But are you motivated by your own personal passion, interest, your own curiosity, your own desire to want to be a better person and to impact society? Motivation. Now, your environment. How does your environment influence your emotions, your thoughts, your beliefs? And how does that influence whether you have empathy or not?
Because they don't go and marry a wicked husband.
Exactly.
You marry a wicked man, you not. Yes.
Empathy and compassion.
They cannot feel it.
Man. Oh God. Can you just hold the thoughts?
Yeah.
We have Noanu on the line calling from Edo State. Noanu, please go ahead with your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, hi, we can hear you.
Yes. My contribution is, you see, marriage these days is based on modern life. Our tradition, old tradition, support marriage, and it worked very well in the olden days. But these days, modern marriage is based on modernity. So that is why marriage fails these days. In the olden days, our mother did not leave our father. So that is why.
Okay.
That's well, no opinion that it is modernization that is making marriages break up.
Yeah.
That our old system was working, but was it really working? I don't agree.
Or maybe they were just suppressed and they weren't self-aware, just like you have told us.
You see, so let's look at it from a broader perspective, right? We are mostly influenced by what is going on in America. So our personal culture and tradition, right, is more external influenced. And if you looked at, in America, if you looked at Europe and their divorce rates, it's the highest in the world. Yeah. But if you look at India, the divorce rate in India is about 1%.
But the abuse is also high.
Yes, India is a large, country, and there are different reasons why there's a lot of abuse. And yes, there's positivity and there's negativity.
Everywhere.
Right, everywhere, right? But if we looked at why, it's because they have very strong core family and marriage values that you are frowned upon when your marriage fails. You remember I said that you're not the only one in your marriage. Your community is in, your family is in, your society is in, your friends, what you watch, is in. And in Nigeria, right, we're watching a lot of Western stuff. So it's eroding our own core values, which is what he's saying, right? That if you strip it, right, you would find out that we had core family values.
Then
you will eat breakfast together. You will eat dinner together.
Yes.
It's only lunch that you don't eat together. Weekends, you go out together as a family, right? We were engendering core family values. But today, your children sit in their room, and the cook brings the food into their room. You may not see them for 2 days. Even you don't work out, go. You don't do your own thing. When do you eat together? And research says that a family that eats together stays together.
Interesting.
Not even pray. Eats together,
just
stays together. Yeah,
we have another caller on the line.
Shall we eat it together?
Please go ahead with your contribution. Oh, unfortunately, Damola, quickly.
Yes. So one of the key elements that we hear that is key to a successful marriage is patience. And you also alluded to that fact on one of your anniversary posts, after you had hailed Madame, and then you said, Kusuru, like you thanked her
for being patient with me.
Yeah, for that patience. Can you give us some examples of what she has had to handle magnanimously that would have broken another marriage if not handled properly?
I mean, look, man, I'm not easy. I'm driven by purpose.
Right.
The last 20 years of my life, all that I do is what God wants me to do, what God created me to do, which is this, to transform lives and transform minds. So I was running 14 businesses.
Whoa.
14. And I shut all 14 down. I shut all 14 down to pursue this. She was patient. I was selling clothes. I was doing interiors. I was a civil engineer. I was building, renovating, and and all of those things, right? And one day I just came and said, God told me. God told me to shut down all my businesses.
Wow.
And I be husband, though. And father and provider.
Wow.
So patience, even though you don't understand what the hell this guy is talking about. Patience. Was it easy? No. It wasn't. It wasn't even easy for me. Because I was stumbling through it.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I now came and say, we have to change our name. Yeah. You married me as Lanre Kupolui. Now you change your name to Lanre Olusola. You this guy, Otikolo. So you were Mrs. X. Suddenly you were known as Mrs. Y. So that was a point of another struggle. So also the pursuit of my assignment requires that I travel a lot. Requires that I interface with a lot of people. Requires that every day I'm on Zoom or sessions at least maybe 8 hours a day. Yes. So including my children are patient with me.
Right.
And that's why, the concept that I spoke about, freedom and liberty, is very, very important.
Yes.
Because one of the things that I also do is make sure that she pursues her dream. And I support her 150%. And as she fulfills her own dream, as she evolves as who God wants her to be, right? Which is the reason why she's here. Yes. She's not here because of me. She's here because God has created her for a purpose. So in supporting her to fulfill that dream, right? She yields and supports me to fulfill the reason why I'm created. And so as I am patient, she's patient. Marriage, and that's another element in emotional intelligence, suru. Patience. They say patience is a virtue. Oh yes, it is a virtue. Now, the ability to build relationships is another very critical component of emotional intelligence. Building relationships, right? The ability to know what makes you tick, the ability to know what interests you, the ability to know who you are, the ability to know, why you are here and what drives you, and the ability to support you in all of that, irrespective of the fact that it may be at variance to your own model.
Yeah.
Now, you must be able to accept that my model was nurtured.
Yeah.
I was nurtured into that nature. Likewise, she was nurtured into her nature. And if I feel that I have a right, to live by my nature, and I want people to accept my nature, right, then you should also be able to let other people to be comfortable to be themselves. Why? Because I was nurtured based on my background. She was nurtured based on her background. And we're two different natured people coming together by virtue of our nurture. So maybe I married at maybe 30-something. She married at maybe 20-something, right? So I've got 32 years of nurture. She's got 25 years of nurture, right? And you are expecting that you will change someone. Never try to change your spouse. Never. That is where a lot of problems come in. And the question you want to ask yourself is, you want to change your spouse to what? You want to change your spouse to yourself. But you've had a 35-year head start. So you've got to be able to support them. Now, if both of you have common vision, right, and common values, that makes things easier.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, go on.
Okay, a lot of people, the topic today is secrets to a long-lasting marriage. But there are people that have thoughts in their mind, myths that they've held on for a long time. So one of those would be that some people would say that once you have a big wedding, it means that your marriage won't last.
The threat.
Right? People think that way. So that's why Yorubas will sometimes say, when your yam is kidiko, you should cover it. Right? Another one would also say that the wife must be the one that would always cook in a marriage. So these are things that a lot of people have absorbed as their reality, such that anything that is different from what they already believe is heading for a failure in that marriage. Can you please bust those myths and shake those tables such that people are able to see that it's not just one way that leads to a lasting marriage?
All right, so you were asking about the pillars. Another pillar is your belief system. Because you see, belief, man, is so powerful.
Yes.
One of the most profound statements I've ever heard in my life is this: if only you can believe, then all things are possible to him that believes.
Yes.
Now. If you also lack belief, then everything is impossible for you.
Yes.
So let's bring it into marriage. So you believe that there are certain things that affect and infect your marriage. Oh, they will affect and infect your marriage. Except you change those beliefs. It's almost like the software that runs this phone. It's your beliefs and your values. They are the software that run your life, that run every decision you make, that run your marriage, that run your business, that run your career, that run every single thing that you do. So if you have negative, limiting, and disempowering beliefs about marriage that you picked up in your environment, and note, it was someone's opinion. So you picked up some people's opinion and you accepted it as your own truth. That's a belief. And you've come to accept it as your own truth. It will make things possible or impossible. So you have to be able to separate an opinion from a belief and a conviction. Now, once it becomes a conviction, right, it's justified.
Yeah.
You will act it out. In fact, you will now begin to commission disciples. So it will not only be you suffering from that limiting belief, you would also infect other people who will suffer from that belief. So it is therefore very, very important for us to audit our thoughts. For as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Now, you think with your brain, not your heart. It's a very interesting concept.
Yes.
Your thoughts influence your emotions and your beliefs. And your beliefs and your emotions influence your decisions, and your decisions influence your actions. Yeah. So if you want to change anything in your life, you must audit your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions, which is the concept of self-awareness. So the question you want to ask yourself is, what am I doing on Instagram for 8 hours? What am I doing watching Netflix for 5 hours? What do I know about me?
Staying by yourself.
Yeah,
Very important
you know,
time.
But you see,
yeah.
I want you to quickly touch on the impact of the dysfunctions we're seeing in marriages, the impact on society, attendant implications quickly
All right.
before
Wow.
we leave.
You know, the family is the bedrock of society.
Yeah.
Period. What happens in different families cumulatively influence what happens in the communities that those families live in. And the cumulative, behaviors or culture or traditions or actions in those communities influences the city that you live in. The cumulative behaviors or habits in those cities influence the country. And then as cumulatively we expand on that, the world is influenced. Where did it start from? Family. If we want to change the world, let's change the family unit.
That's a fine place to leave the conversation. There's so much to unpack from this. There's so much. There's so much. If we had extended this show, there's so many questions to be asked. And I know that so many callers would have also called in to ask or contribute one way or the other. But we must thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Lanre Olusola for this masterclass that we didn't pay for. It's quite an interesting one. Thank you. Thank you so much. And you can go back to check online to revisit, what we have discussed this morning. It's such an impactful one that you can learn from to move you forward, the society, your family, your friends, everyone. Just share the link and you get so much to learn from it. Ladies, we have to end the show now. Up next is The Beautiful Game. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you on Monday. Bye.